Well, you know what they say, you can't always get what you want. Sometimes in life you do. Hello and welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Reuben and today we are looking at the new 2023 25th anniversary remaster of Meshuggah's 1998 classic album Chaosphere. Now, you may remember during my Obscene review I said, hey, why not do something like Chaosphere remastered? And yeah, here we are. It seems that Meshuggah just seem to be doing what I want them to do, because I also said they should headline Bloodstock, and here we are. So Chaosphere is a fan favourite for good reason. Let's get into why. So the album opens with the blistering track Concatenation, and there's just no other way to put this. The album just sort of starts. Yeah, it's a less than palatable track for newcomers. Pretty much the entire song is just chaos, rhythmically, structurally. There's no verses or choruses to be discerned here, and it's certainly a precursor to some of the band's more technical tracks like The Demon's Name is Surveillance, Clockworks, the EP the single 20-minute track. Just mental stuff that they've become known for. And yeah, as far as I knew, I searched through Setlist FM, I had a look at like different archives, and I don't think they've ever played Concatenation live. I mean, would you want to if you were in that band? If you'd written that absolute nonsense. Another note I have for this song actually is that I'm so glad they fixed the intro for this track, because before on things like Spotify and Tidal and I think iTunes as well, the first few seconds of the intro just weren't there, so the song literally started midway through the intro and created this really jarring, horrible effect. I get the song's supposed to start really jarring and horrible, that's the point of the that's why it's the first song on the album, but at the same time, cutting off the very beginning and having no definitive beginning, and you kind of just begin with the decay of what was left, and it just sounded horrible. On this new remaster they fixed that, so I'm very relieved to hear this track properly. So track 2 is a song called New Millennium Cyanide Christ, and I've got to tell you, it might be my favourite Meshuggah song. It's up there. It's a very effective second track. Just listen to that groove in the verse. So the song is about pseudo-religious cult leaders who encourage their deluded congregation to commit mass suicide, hence New Millennium Cyanide Christ. We've seen it before, people who think they either have a messiah complex or they are willingly deluding people, and yeah, it's a totally fucked up subject matter, but it fits this kind of music really well. As well, I wholeheartedly implore you, go and check out the official music video, because if for no other reason, it looks like this. Yeah, it's just hilarious, that video. I love it so much. And man, that breakdown. Is it my favourite song? Is it my favourite breakdown, rather, in a song ever? It probably is, I've got to be honest. It just gets me every time. So obviously I'm not going to talk about every song because I'll be here for, you could write a fucking essay on this album, just all the intricacies of the rhythms and what all these instruments are doing. Just ugh. So Corridor of Chameleons is maybe a lesser known track, but I think it deserves just as much recognition as some of the bigger tracks on this album, and is up there with one of my favourite, some of my favourite stuff that Meshuggah have done. I think it should be up there with like Bleed and Broken Cog in terms of just how kind of well known some of these songs are. And this song just shows how like a groove that might be kind of jarring to the ears, if you put it in the hands of a band that know what they're doing, like Meshuggah, it just becomes so accessible so quickly. Sane is another pretty well known song from this album. It's one that I've seen them perform live. I think it's the only one from this album I've actually seen them play, which is a shame, but there we go. It's a kick-ass track, so I don't really mind. It's the only part on the album, I think, that has what's close to a quiet part. Man, it's so groovy, but so just out there in what it's trying to achieve in terms of rhythm and complexity. But it marries those two aspects so well, and that's why this album and why Meshuggah is so good. They're some of the songs that stand out. I honestly just would say go and listen to the whole thing start to finish. It's 47 minutes long, so it's not even that long by modern metal standards. It's pretty sharp, and it's pretty to the point, this album. It represents some of the most technical and indeed chaotic stuff that Meshuggah have ever put to tape. On the one hand, you do have a lot of, not so much melody, but again, I keep saying it's full of grooves, it's full of stuff you can latch onto and headbang. It is also just total fucking insanity as well. The only real negative thing I have to say about this album is the end, and I mean like the hidden track after Elastic, which is the final proper song on the album. After this song finishes, you get a few minutes of like this feedback loop, which kind of sounds cool. It's a bit like an ambient thing, kind of like whatever the opposite of ASMR would be. I quite like it because it's so strange and dissonant sounding, and I quite enjoy when albums do this. Afterwards you get, well, this. And yeah, you've guessed that right. That is several, I believe 4 of the tracks on the album being played at once, which is kind of novel for the first like 4 minutes. And then you just start to think, like, as it goes on and it just becomes so grating and it's taking up a fair chunk of the album, you just sort of go, why? What's astonishing about this is apparently Meshuggah recorded this really quickly, like 2 weeks or something in the studio. That's fucking quick for an album these days. And yeah, apparently before they went into the studio, they hadn't played all of the songs all the way through as a band yet. Like, can you imagine that? Not having played all of your material properly together, and all of a sudden you're tracking. That's just nuts. I mean, it paid off. The album's fantastic, so it must have worked. And yeah, I have to talk about this new remaster. 2023 is the 25th anniversary of this album, so they decided, hey, let's put it out as a kind of remastered version. The versions online and stuff aren't of the best quality, and like I say, Concatenation had that weird issue with the intro where it just, well, the intro wasn't, it was missing basically from the track for some bizarre reason. It's really similar to a lot of the stuff that's been coming out recently, like the Obscene remaster I reviewed last year, the remaster of, or the remix rather, I think, of Porcupine Tree's Deadwing, which came out earlier this year. You kind of go, yeah, it is on the surface better than the original mix, but I wouldn't rush out to go and get this one. It doesn't completely negate the old one. It's not like, the 2017 stereo mix of Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles, or the remix from that same year of Pink Floyd's Animals. It doesn't completely just cancel out the original version because of how much better it is. This one, this Chaosphere remaster, like it is superior, I think. You can hear stuff like the guitars are more spaced out. You can hear what the different tracks are doing a little bit clearer. Although it does have this weird thing where it makes the guitars sound like they've been double tracked. And of course there were those two guitarists in the band, and I'm sure both of them layered multiple layers of guitar. But it does have this weird thing where they kind of sound like one of the guitars in each track is a little bit out of phase or something. The frequencies just kind of clash. So that's a bit strange. It's a bit like when they remixed and re-recorded Nothing back in 2004. I think that one came out. Might have been a bit later than that. But the remix of that, where because they switched from 7 to 8 string guitars, they pitched down Jens Kidman's vocals, and they just sound a bit strange because what you're hearing isn't the natural pitch of his voice. It's been pitched down to match the 8 string guitars, which I thought that's just... Maybe he didn't want to redo the vocals, I don't know. The Chaosphere remix doesn't sound as jarring as that. It is better. And I'm really, really glad that this album's getting a bit more focus in the spotlight, because everyone likes to talk about, Obscene, Destroy, Raise, Improve. And obviously those albums are awesome, but Chaosphere deserves some love as well. So, have you heard Chaosphere? Have you heard this new remix? Remaster, I keep saying remix. It's not a remix, it's a remaster. There's a difference. Have you heard it? What do you think? If you're into Meshuggah and you somehow haven't heard it, if you're into just extreme or technical metal, it is absolutely essential listening. I cannot stress that enough. This album is just fucking badass from start to finish. I've seen the footage from the headlining Bloodstock performance this year as well. Man, it just makes me wish I was there again. Just absolutely getting pummeled by the sounds of like Rational Gaze and In Death Is Death. Oh, what a set, what a show. Really want to see them again. Meshuggah, please come to the UK soon. And just one more thing before I go. Please put some songs from Chaosphere in the set list, for fuck's sake. You're on tour again and the set list has changed. I'm glad you're playing some really old stuff on this tour, but like, play something from Chaosphere. Why would you remaster the album and re-release it if you're not going to play anything from it? It's one of your best albums. Now, in all seriousness, Meshuggah just keep delivering the content, whether it be new music or re-releases of classic albums or new footage of gigs. Just, I hope this band never stops. I hope they never get stale. I don't think that's possible, but we'll see. I can't wait to see what they do next. So that'll do it, I think, for this album. The next one I'm going to do, hopefully a lot sooner than you've waited for this one. Who's been waiting for this one? Tons of people, I'm sure. The next one I'm going to do is another remaster of a 1998 classic metal album, in my opinion, by an artist whose initials are DT. And no, it's not Dream Theater, but it is very prog. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching, if you've been watching. I'm sorry to Chris that you know how to go and edit this. Comment below cheers Chris for me, because I can't be arsed saying it. So I've been Reuben for Crushing Sounds. Stay warm, it's really cold right now. Stay warm, drink some tea, listen to some metal, enjoy your life. Where did my glasses go? I should probably have done this in like multiple takes rather than one long massive slog for you to edit. And then Chris, if you put in a clip of the part I'm going to talk about, the part where all the songs play at once at the very end of the album, it's I'm sorry, it's awful.